Today I will share how I multiplied my income over 65 times and how you can apply the same principles in your economic life and hopefully do the same. So as a child, I started out working in the garden, earning $2 an hour. And probably it looks like something like this for everyone, that we start doing some really simple task and we get a low salary, we get a low hourly rate. But the more advanced and the more difficult and valuable skills we learn, we can start to earn more per hour. So later in my 20s, I started working as a voice coach and I charged about $30, $40 an hour. So already there I had multiplied that income because now I was doing something that people found more valuable. They wanted to pay me to learn this skill that I had acquired. So around this time, I started taking lessons and learning from what the best coaches in the world, what they were doing. And I started taking classes from them. I started taking private lessons from them, and they were really expensive. And I really needed to think before I bought these lessons and invested in this. But I had a feeling that that would pay off greatly in the future. And by doing so, that was a great move because of their high fees, most of other voice coaches and students were sorted out because they weren't willing to pay this amount for this teacher. And the fact that I did sorted myself out from a lot of people. That was a great idea. While taking lessons from them, I also learned very specific methods and very effective ways of learning how to sing and how they were coaching, how they were teaching, how they were treating me as a student. These principles I could apply in my own coaching, and thanks to doing that, I could start to charge much more than other voice coaches. So by having specific, difficult, and valuable skills, by acquiring those skills, I could start to charge a lot more for what I was doing. So can you see how no matter in what area we're working in, by seeking out the best experts in that field and learning from those, paying them a high fee to learn what they're doing and start doing the same, we can easily increase our hourly rate by a few 100%. Another reason why this is such a smart move is because investing in training, investing on our own education is many times totally tax deductible. So if I invest in something that I'm doing in my business to improve my skills, then I can deduct that as an expense, which means that lowers the amount of taxes that I pay. So I have made an investment that will make me make more in the future, but that is tax deductible. That means that amount is counted as an expense. This is a genius move because usually when we make investments, that is not seen as an expense. If we buy an asset, that is put as an asset in our asset column in our balance sheet. But if we buy training and become better and hone our skills by buying training or buying coaching from an excellent coach or excellent teacher, then that is seen as an expense, which lowers the taxes and increases our income the next weeks, the next month, and for the rest of our business career. That is why this is such a smart move. And I have many examples of when this has worked really well for me, investing in training or investing in courses and developing myself, and how that has made me to earn more money, but also how to be more happy and excel in life. For example, I've noticed that when I do exercise and move my body, then I am much happier, and then I also make more money because I'm happier and people can feel that, and that translate into higher productivity and higher income. So a couple of times I've taken courses from a really great health expert in body movement, and during those times I've been the fittest I've ever been in my life. And those periods, that has been also when I've seen great peaks in productivity and increases in how much I earn. And in many countries, investing in our own health is also tax deductible if we buy, for example, a gym membership, or invest in coaching from a fitness trainer, for example. So that's why this is also a great thing to invest in, because it makes us more happy and increases productivity and increases our income. Another example of this is when I was in a membership of entrepreneurs, and I could sit and discuss with a teacher each week my own problems, my own things that I was facing, how I could get around those, increase the productivity of my business, and also listen to other business owners, what problems they had and how they solved them. And just being in that environment, that was really amazing, because it nudged me to want to be as good as they were, to have as high revenue and earn as much as them, and be like them. That is also great because that training program, I could deduct it as an expense in my business, and that generated more income the next months. Another example is when I took a course on planning, how to plan my week, how to prioritize the most important tasks I needed to do. That also increased my productivity, and I still carry that with me today, and I can use it for the rest of my life, that planning system. So other investments have been in my health, for example. When I feel great, that also translates into better quality work, more clients, and a better business. So any investment that has been in my own health has really paid off immensely, because that when you feel good, everything else works better. So if we know that this is such a great investment to do, why doesn't more people spend more on training? Why don't I spend more on training? Many people in business and many individuals invest in the stock market to have a solid foundation and economically. And this might make us to not invest as much in our own training. At least that happened for me. I was thinking like this: I should take the most amount possible from my income and invest in the stock market, in investments, because that will make me more safe in the future, that will have the highest payoff, and it's a great feeling to see my asset column grow. But what we forget when we do that is that the highest ROI, the highest return on investment we will get is from investments in ourselves. Let's say you sell a product or service in your business, and at the end of the year you have a certain amount of profit. Then you need to decide, what am I going to do with this profit in my business? You could decide either to invest it in the stock market, or you could decide to invest it in a training program or private lessons from an excellent sales coach, for example. That would increase your closing rate by 20 to 50%. Now, the stock market might feel like the lowest risk investment because you're maybe spreading it over 500 businesses if you invest in a low-cost index fund. And there are also so many financial gurus talking about what a great investment that is, and that is the way how we can apply compounding in our finances. But that is a very simplified model of how we use compounding. If we could apply compounding in increasing our closing rate by 20 to 50%, that would have a much bigger effect than investing in the stock market. That would mean that you, for each sales call that you make, you would have a better outcome. You would have more new customers. If they stay for a long time in your company, that could potentially have a much higher return on investment than investing in the stock market. An increase in your closing rate of 20 to 50% would add directly to your profit margin in your business, because that wouldn't increase any of your costs. That would just be added to the bottom line. And if those customers stay, that would mean additional income every year from now, for many years to come. So that training in your own skills, in your own increased productivity and increased closing rate could have a several 100%, if not 1,000% more higher return on investment than investing in the stock market. But we usually think that the only way to apply compounding is by investing in the stock market, because that is what everyone is talking about. But actually the most powerful way is doing a direct investment in our own business that makes our business more efficient. And in this case, in training, getting better skills, becoming better at what we do. The opposite side of this is if we stop to invest in our own education and in our own training, if we have been doing that, and say, now I will take this money instead and invest in the stock market. What will happen is our income will start to decrease, because we're not doing things to improve ourselves or improve our business, but actually the income will start to decrease. And we might wonder why this is happening, because we fail to connect the dots in this. We think that, I'm applying compounding, I'm doing all the things right that I should, but we're actually missing the point that investing in our own skills, improving our own skills and our own systems, that is the most effective way, the most powerful way of applying compound interest. So then we can ask ourselves, where should I invest this money? If we have now decided to invest a portion of our income into our own development, what should I invest in? So we could ask ourselves, where do I have bottlenecks? Where in my business or in my personality or something around my professional life, where do I have a block? Where do I have a bottleneck? Where don't I get the most potential that I could? When we have identified that, then we could use this money to attack this specific problem. Maybe that is a health issue, maybe that is in a sales program, maybe that is in becoming smarter at handling employees, etc. But when we identify that, we can attack that particular area, and that should have a high ROI for us. We could also look at what other successful people in this area are doing. What are they excellent at? And how can I emulate them? How can I learn the same skills that they have? Because at one time they have learned this skill. It's not something they are born with, it's something that they learned. How can we acquire that skill? So hopefully you can take 1 or 2 ideas and multiply your income. I will certainly double down on my own self-education and learn even more valuable skills. Thank you for watching and see you next week.